Hello, everybody. I'm going to get this camera set up. Yes, we've got Miss Zoe this morning. We're about to get our yoga on. So let me get this in the phone stand for a quick sec. Bear with me. Get this guy all up and running. Oh, gosh. If I don't break the phone stand. Cool. So this is going to be our setup for today, everybody. We're going to be doing a Mandukasana, a frog flow. We're going to be working on our frog pose, which will be fun and challenging. And I'm going to try to get this so you can still see my head even when I'm standing because it's a little tricky. Because sometimes I'm not that tall, but sometimes it still cuts off my head. All right, friends, about to get started in just a moment. Give me 2 shakes of a leg to get this thing going. Maybe grab some props if you want some props. And then let me try this. Let's try this to have it refresh. I seem to be having a hard time getting this going on the YouTubes. Give me 2 seconds to figure this out. When in doubt, an iPad always has info on it. I posted on my Instagram some playlists if you want to take a look at the playlists that I was recommending for this flow. It has some Vampire Weekend on there, it has some cool stuff. I highly recommend you check that out. Should be pretty cool. Isn't this fun when technology is not working, guys? I can't seem. To find how to refresh our website. Oh gosh, my iPad's moving real slow, guys. Well, isn't this fun when technology completely freezes? I will figure this out. Whether or not we're streaming live on our YouTube page. Don't know if it's a good sign when my iPad goes completely blank, guys. Pretty sure it's a bad sign. We'll see if I can get some technology help over here, and then we'll get started in just a moment. So grab a block if you want it. Grab cookbooks if you want those to help you kind of get set up and have something to prop yourself up on. But then that way you have a chance to, get set up and get comfortable. That way you get a chance to get set up and get comfortable, okay? And start in just a little bit. I don't know why this is not refreshing. That is so weird, guys. Well, I guess I'll have to do this without refreshing on the live feed. It says that there's no live stream detected, and I don't know. All right, well, whatever. We're gonna do some yoga over here. Okay, so to get started today and start our practice, we're gonna start in a child's pose. So we're gonna really start to ground down. So if you have a mala that might get in the way, maybe remove it. And then to begin to settle in, so pressing your forearms down, resting the forehead down, and then just notice where your sit bones land at. They might be close to the heels, they might be further away. It doesn't make a difference. Now, make the choice here between having knees side by side or knees towards the edge of the mat. We're going to work a lot on hips today, so maybe you give a little bit of love to the low back right now, keeping the knees side by side and just allowing this low back to find some release as the belly rests to the thighs. Beginning to stretch and release, settling in this morning, whatever's been going on or hasn't been going on, settle in with the breath. Notice if you can take a slower, bigger inhale. And maybe an open mouth sigh, let something go. Arriving in this present moment, notice what your body feels like as you arrive in the present. What can you lean into of space? Can you take time to breathe a little bit slower? Breathe a little bit more purposefully. Can you set an intention possibly for your practice this morning? An inspiration, a dedication, whatever it might be, just a word of motivation. Taking a steady inhale and an open mouth sigh. Share it out into the universe around you. Beginning to warm up the body. Tend up onto the fingertips. Feel that stretch, not only in the shoulders, but down the back. Feel that strength into the arms. And begin to hover the head. Feel a bit more strength all the way down into the belly space. On your exhale, walk your hands over to the right. Option to stack this left hand on top of your right hand, resettling your head between your arms. As you feel the stretch into that left side ribs, breathing full rounds of breath in and breath out. One more big breath in, deep down into that belly space, all the way into the left lung. Exhale, walk your hands back through center and then over to the left. Maybe left hand is stacked underneath that right hand, or maybe they're just side by side. It doesn't matter. I like to press the right hand up top. Depends on what works for you. As you settle in, recenter your head between your arms, but also dial the shoulders a little bit towards the earth, a little bit softer. Arriving in this space. Breathing into that right side along, finding extra space there to allowing the forehead to weigh heavy, allowing the neck to soften. Another full big belly breath in all the way down to the base of the belly, all the way into that right rib, right lung, and then exhale. Come back through center. Now we're gonna go for a thread the needle variation. So we're gonna take our left arm and we're gonna thread it underneath our right armpit, lowering that left ear down and just settle on down. Something I've been noticing within my own body. I've been noticing that with the weird things that are going on around us in the world, I feel tension stored in different parts of my body than I do in a normal, busy day to day life scenario. So, traditionally, I tend to hold a lot of tension in my shoulders in my day to day life when I'm running around and really busy, or sometimes in my jaw. But lately, my tension's been held in my hamstrings and my hips. So, we're going to really work on both of those today, primarily the hips, hence our Mandukasana, our frog flow. So, I'm going to really work on that. Taking one more full breath in this thread the needle variation. Exhale, unwind, left arm reaches forward, right arm slides underneath, and then lower that right ear down. Find this nice stretch. Soften, let everything hang heavy and release. You might start to notice today in your flow or just in your day to day movements and observations of your own body. Where are you holding tension within your body? Is it a different space than where you normally hold tension? Stress can manifest in different ways. And probably the stress that we're feeling in current times with what's going on in the world is much different than our normal current stress. Normally, our current stress is busy running around, place to place commitments constantly. And now all of a sudden that's just stopped, which can be weird and create stress in and of itself. But also there's a lot of stress of the unknown and kind of having to sit back and just wait. And that can bring up a lot of tension within our body. And it might be in a different space than where we normally notice it at. All right, take one more full breath in this thread the needle. Exhale, come back through center, nice strong grip. Taking a full inhale here, yogis. Exhale, reach your right hand back towards your right heel. Now, my knees are side by side, a little bit of space between them. If your knees are out wide, you might want to bring them more parallel and take that right hand back towards the heel. Now, it might not touch, it's just my fingertips reaching towards that heel space. And then I'm going to start to walk my left arm around until it lifts off the ground. We're going to go for a half dancing camel. So if you notice, my right hand's not touching my heel. My back's not really warmed up yet, but I am squeezing my glutes, pressing my hips forward, and engaging my core a lot. Exhale, slide that left arm down and around towards the heel, and then wrap that right arm up around to lift you up like a dance. Now, again, notice left hand's not necessarily touching the heel. You could, if your back feels warm enough, use your core, press your hips forward, try to keep the hips in line over the knees, and look up if you'd like to challenge that stretch all the way up into the neck. And then let's switch it out. Two more times each side at your own pace. Inhale, wrap around. Exhale, unwind. Inhale, wrap it up. Exhale, unwind one more time at your own pace. Maybe you linger, maybe you don't. The only thing I ask of you in your practice is to do what works for you. Lower it all down. Come back to the breath. Slow things down. Notice how that movement felt in your body. Maybe you're already starting to become a little bit more awake, a little bit more aware of the physical body. Start to pull yourself up onto your palms. Let's find a tabletop. Now, immediately move through some cat cows. So, pulling your heart forward, lifting the tailbone and the gaze up towards the sky. I like to add a little smile here. It always helps me. Exhale, round and hollow out. The hardest part of yoga sometimes is lifting those muscles up towards the ears for that smile. Inhale, lift. Tailbone and gaze up. Cow pose. Exhale, round for cat. Nice, yogis. Take a couple more rounds of these at your own pace. So you're welcome to bring in a roll into the neck, a press into the ribs left and right. You're welcome to take on anything you would like from here. A couple more rounds of cat cow. Taking that time to breathe and move like you for a little bit. As you move like you, maybe you take time to start to press back to a child's pose, or you start to make full circles into the hips around the mat. That could feel really funky, really nice. Just warming up into those hips. I'm going to take one more round of these hip circles over to the right. Maybe a little snap, crackle, pop of the knees and the wrists, and then we're going to pull ourselves back up, right tabletop. Now let's find some wrist stretches just to prepare our wrists for our practice. If you don't prepare your wrist for your practice, you might notice, especially in the morning, that it tends to put a lot of strain on the wrist. And this is a great way to create longevity in your practice and really keep yourself safe. So we're going to take our right hand and we're going to face it. I'm going to move my left hand a little bit further forward just so you, or behind, just so you can watch, but my hand would normally be here. So with our right hand, what we're going to do is we're going to take our palm to face up, our fingers back towards our knee, and then our left hand's just still right here underneath our shoulder. Majority of my weight now shifts back towards the knees. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, release it, let it go. Next, inhale. Can you squeeze all 5 fingers towards the center of your palm? Make a fist with this right hand. See how I'm doing that? Exhale, release. Again, inhale, squeeze your fingers in towards the center of your palm. Exhale, release. Let's bring our fingers back towards our knees, but now the palm is down. Feeling that stretch all the way up the forearm. Preparing ourselves for whatever is going to happen or not happen today. Lift those fingers maybe up. I like to lift the heel of the palm all the way up to the fingers and then lower it back down. That might not be accessible for you today. That's okay. Adjust and modify. Give it a little roll out in the forearm, in the wrist. And then let's take on the left side. So again, our palm faces up, fingers back towards the knee, and most of the weight's back towards my knees here, right? And my right hand's still planted, keeping me firm and strong. Sometimes I like to press the earth away a little bit more with my palms to take a little bit of weight out of this wrist. If you want a little bit more sensation, you can sink a little bit heavier through those shoulders. Maybe you add a little movement forwards and backwards if it feels all right. Next, inhale though, we're going to squeeze our fingers in towards the center of our palm. Make that fist. Exhale, release. Again, let's squeeze our hands, make a fist, and then release. Now let's face our palm down, fingers back towards the knee still. And you might stay here. You might add a little bit of rock of movement. You might even rock the heel of the palm off and the palm itself to the fingertips and then lower it back down, just depending on flexibility and strength in the wrist. When I first started doing these guys, my wrists were really weak. I didn't really ever stretch them, but my wrists would also get fatigued from doing a lot of vinyasas in classes, and I realized that these stretches are really necessary. Now bring your hand back. Maybe you give it a little roll into the wrist first. And let's go for another thread the needle variation. We're going to work on the hips this time. So sweep that right arm up towards the sky. Look up towards the right thumb. Reach long. Feel that nice stretch this morning. Exhale, thread the needle, right ear, right shoulder come to the earth. Maybe that left foot walks out. This is our hip stretch. Now notice my whole left foot is sealed down to the earth. I'm pressing down from the toe down to the heel. Even the razor edge, that outside edge of my foot is really pressing down. Now my left arm might extend towards the top of the mat, or it could wrap around my low back. It's whatever feels good for me this morning. I think for me today, it's probably my arm reaching towards the top of the mat because I need a little bit more stretch into the back side of my shoulder. If I were to wrap this left arm around my low back, that would be stretching more into the front line of the chest and the shoulder. And today it's the back of my shoulder I notice that I need. You check in and notice those things that you can do to customize your practice for you. And then again, come back to that breath. What motivates us to take each breath as steady and as present as we can. Exhale, bring that left palm back near your face. Bring the left knee also back underneath your hip. Inhale, right arm reaches high towards the sky. Exhale, thread the needle. Right arm comes down, sorry. Left arm reaches up towards the sky this time. I'm ahead of myself. Look up at that left thumb. Feel that stretch in the ribs and twist. Exhale, left ear, left shoulder come down to the ground. Maybe that right foot steps out. Sealing down through the whole razor edge of that right foot. Now, again, you might take that right arm, reach it towards the top of the mat, or wrap that arm around the low back. You choose where you need the stretch this morning. This is the one I'm choosing to give a little bit more attention to my back and my shoulders. Can you breathe full, high quality rounds here? Not shorting yourself. Giving yourself time to pause at the top and the bottom of the breath. And as you're ready, bringing that right palm back underneath your face, that right knee, underneath your hip, left arm reaches up. Exhale, lower that left hand down. Let's walk our knees in a little bit shorter just to really warm up our whole body right now. Tuck the toes, hover the knees, beast pose here. Now, keeping your core strong, navel pulled up and in, low ribs knitted together. Squeeze and engage the glutes, but also you're waking up the feet a little bit here. It's kind of like a yogi toe stretch almost in the moment. Press the earth away so you're doming up to that space between your shoulder blades. Take one more steady, powerful inhale. Exhale, hips go high, down dog. It might be a short down dog stance. You might need to step it out a little bit longer. Find what works for you. No, I like to pedal out into one foot and then the other, one knee and then the other. Sometimes I like to lift high on both toes, really warming up the feet, and then drop the heels over to one side. You choose what works for you. Maybe your heels drop to the other side, or maybe just keep pedaling it out or marching in place. Find some organic movements, maybe a little shake into the head, yes and no. The neck holds tension there too, so do the shoulders. Drawing those shoulder blades back up towards the hips. Heart presses back towards the thighs. Pulling that belly in, really engaging the navel, engaging your whole core. We'll work on some strengthening postures for that later. On the next inhale, bring your gaze forward, lift high into the tippy toes. On the exhale, with straight legs, palms glued down, take those tiny tip toes steps, or oh so tiny steps, especially as you get to the top. It should feel really, 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 really difficult to stay on the toes here and keep the palms rooted down. Now find a nice ragdoll for a moment. Grab for opposite elbows, bend the knees, belly and thighs touch. Maybe a little bit of movement left and right into the hips, into a sway into the upper body. One more inhale. Exhale, release your fingers to your shins. Inhale, halfway lift. Pull the low belly up and in, engage it. Pinch the shoulder blades together. Press your fingers into your shins. Shift the weight towards the toes. Exhale, forward, fold. Another round of that. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward, fold. Inhale, let the head hang heavy. Roll up one vertebra at a time, nice and slow. Inhale, sweep your arms up high. Exhale, cactus, back bend. Look up. Inhale, sweeping your arms back up towards the sky. Grab onto that left wrist, stretch up and over to the right, just to find some movement here. Left and right, reach back up and then grab onto that right wrist, stretch over to the left. Hips press a little bit to the right as well. Inhale, come back up, cactus your heart open. Arms sweep up high. Forward fold. Take your time. Bend those knees along the way. It's all good. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Step back, top of a push-up high plank pose. We're going to work on some back strengthening here. So hold your high plank. Now notice if you can pull your low ribs in a little bit more so they're not flaring out. I know I'm guilty of it too, guys. Can you also work on pulling your hip points towards your low ribs? Creating that slight tuck of the tailbone, that strength. Pressing the palm, earth away with your palms so you dome up to that space between your shoulder blades. Very similar to our beast pose. Last full inhale. Over the exhale, start to bend the elbows lower on the count of 3, 2. You got this. 1, all the way down to the belly. Untuck the toes. Let's go for a baby cobra to begin. Inhale, hover the heart. Gaze down the bridge of your nose. You could hover the palms if you'd like at any moment. Lift a little bit higher on the next inhale. Exhale, lower your heart down. Bring one ear to the earth. Gaze in one direction. And maybe this time you decide to go along with me and walk your hands out a little bit wider for a wild cobra. Working on that shoulder still, but also increasing strength in our back. Inhale, hover the heart. Now you might notice you lift a little bit higher than your baby cobra. That's cool. Your elbows are flaring out left and right. Drop your left shoulder down as you gaze over to the right. Back through center. Drop your right shoulder down as you gaze over to the left. Come back through center. Use that core strength like you're pulling your belly button towards the front of the mat, but you're also squeezing those glutes, driving your hip points down. Exhale, lower it all down. Bring the opposite ear to the earth, gaze the opposite direction. Interlace your hands to your low back. Working on locust pose today. Toes pointed back, zipping up through your legs, kind of like a serpent's tail. Now I start with my elbows bent. As I bring my chin back through center, my knuckles on the inhale start to pull back as it lifts my heart very naturally. Now, you might choose from here. It might be a little bit early. If you want, though, you could hover the legs, or you might decide that's not happening this morning. I'm not going to hover the legs. I'm just going to lower them back down. It's all good. You've got one more breath in, a little bit higher. Exhale, lower it all back down. Opposite ear again to the earth. Pick up your feet, little windshield wiper, left and right. Left and right. Come back through center. Tuck the toes. Hover the knees so your legs are really engaged. Palms pressing down, press up, tabletop or plank pose. Hips go high, down dog. I always have a little bend as I lift my hips back to my down dog, if you notice, because it makes it like a wave-like movement. It makes it very fluid. Rather than kind of robotic, just pressing your hips high. This gives you a little bit more fluid, a little bit more movement to let your booty kind of lift you back home. And let's be honest, probably majority of our strength is in our booty rather than in the rest of our legs. It's a pretty big muscle group. All of our glutes in there. Full inhale. Big open mouth sigh. Awakening in your body. Looking forward. On the exhale, hop, step, float, travel. We'll meet at the top of the mat, however you want to get there. Inhale, halfway lift, anchor fingers to shins or to earth. Exhale, forward, fold. Inhale, root and rise, reach high. Face your palms up towards the sky this time, like you're doing a handstand, but the opposite way. You know, you're doing a handstand on the ceiling here, and so the floor. Really strong, pull those shoulders back down the socket, back down towards the earth, the hips. When you're ready, start to face your palms towards the front of the room, like you're the karate kid painting the fence. I call this the karate kid painting the fence thing because you're flexing your palms as if they're running along an invisible wall in front of you. Really flex them, warm up those wrists, and then flip it around. Now, fingers face down towards the earth as we lift our hands back up. Flex the palms and then lower them back down. Nice, yogis. Another full inhale. Lift them up. Last time, exhale, paint your way down the fence. And then paint your way back up the fence. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. I always encourage a bend to the knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Take any vinyasa you want to get back to your down dog. You can take any of those choices we took on our belly earlier, including that baby cobra, or you can take chaturanga to up dog, your choice. Or just bend the knees and go straight back to your down dog in a wave-like motion. Personally, my favorite express route. As you arrive back in down dog, taking a full inhale. Open mouth sigh. Big breath in. And another open mouth sigh. Let something go. Something we can release. Whether we identify it or not, label it or not, it does not matter. making us feel a little bit better, connecting also to intentional breath. Full inhale, looking forward, hop, step, float on the exhale, travel to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, root and rise. And then interlace your hands to your low back on the exhale and interlace the knuckles. Now you might cross the opposite thumb on top this time to make it like the funky grip. Knuckles pull down, a little tuck of the tailbone, squeeze the glutes to look up. Keep your hip points pressing forward. Oh yeah, this is similar to our camel pose, so we don't end up with a duck booty kicking back. We want to make sure we tuck everything under, protecting the low back. Look up. Exhale, keep this bend, but again, keep the bind, but bend into the knees. I was going to say that backwards. Let the head hang heavy. So a nice bend into the knees, but the bind is still here. Now your knuckles might stay to your low back. They might stay rooted right here. You might have the flexibility to lift them away. It's up to you, whatever feels good. One more inhale. We're going to halfway lift on that inhale. Knuckles pull back. Keep the bind. Exhale, release, forward fold. Take any vinyasa you want. We'll meet back in down dog. Vinyasa or no vinyasa, it does not matter. You are practicing and breathing and showed up on your mat. And that, my friends, is awesome in and of itself. We can let go of all those labels of things that tell us if we're doing a good job or not, or good humans or not. We are breathing and doing the best we can this morning. And that makes us pretty good. When you're ready on the next inhale, we're going to sweep our right leg high to the sky. Now bend your knee, stack your hip. A few knee circles are nice for this. It warms up the front hip flexor a little bit. It also warms up the back of the hamstring. Taking your time to find stillness. And then if this is in your practice, we're going to move into a wild thing. So we're going to drop our right toes down, reaching that right arm long overhead. We're going to work on flipping with some momentum here, okay? Back to our three-legged dog. So bring your hands into heart center. Lower your hips to hover over the earth. You've got this, yogi. Like a big explosion of energy. Bam, right back to your three-legged dog. Nice. Draw that knee over towards your right elbow or tricep if you don't lose your AirPods halfway through. Inhale, kick it up. Knee in towards the nose or third eye space. Inhale, kick it up. Knee twist over to the left elbow. You've got this. Kick out your foot, fallen triangle. Now you might lower the right foot, or to work on some extra core strength, some extra oblique strength, you might hover the foot. Your choice. Lower that left hand down, kick the right foot up. And again, right knee, right elbow, or tricep, flex the foot, step it outside that right pinky, lizard lunge. Now to start, we're gonna lower that left knee down. We're just gonna ease into our lizard lunge here. Breathe, steady, full inhales. Back left knee up again. Sweep the right arm up towards the sky, an easy twist from our lizard. Reaching nice and high towards the sky. We're once again going to lower that foot off the earth. Now you might notice the right hand can grab for that back left foot, or you might notice it can't. Does it make a difference? No. Should we criticize ourselves about this? Absolutely not, right? Let's be kind, let's be compassionate, knowing that we're just doing the best we can this morning. Or whatever time of day you're practicing yoga. It doesn't matter if it's the middle of the night. Whatever works for you. So pulling that leg in for a quad stretch, working on that lower body stretch, or we might be holding some extra tension these days, and then gently lower that left foot down, taking your time to plant your right hand back to the inside of your foot. Straighten out your right leg, flex your toes up towards the sky. Oh yeah, it's like a half split lizard thing because your hands are still to the inside of your foot. Now you're kind of bowing down a little bit more. Another full inhale to the back of those hamstrings. Exhale, re-bend the knee. Tuck your back toes and take any way to get back to your down dog you want. I'm gonna tuck my left toes, lift my knee up, and maybe you take a one-legged vinyasa from here. Maybe you don't. You could skip it all and go straight back to down dog. Because that's all we're gonna meet. We are all meeting back in down dog with our breath, coming back to this present moment. Notice what is moving. Maybe it's our heart, our breath a little bit differently through our body. Maybe it's some energy, some thoughts, some emotions. As you're ready on the next inhale, left leg reaches high, bend your knee, stack your hip open. And again, those knee circles are oh so nice to help work out some of the front hip flexor space, as well as the back of those hamstrings. Now, from here, mindful of your space, like I have this table over here, I'm going to try really hard to land very gently in my wild thing. My left arm reaches long overhead to begin with. On the exhale, bring your hand into heart center. Lower your hips to hover, and you've got this. A big explosion of energy. Back around, three-legged dog. We're going to work on doing that a little bit faster on the next couple of rounds. Exhale, draw knee over towards left elbow or tricep. Inhale, kick it up. Exhale, knee towards nose or third eye space. Inhale, kick it up. Knee twist over towards that right elbow. Kick it out, fallen triangle. You might hover that left foot or you might rest it down. What are you looking for as you reach that right arm high to the sky? Exhale, lower that right hand down, kick it up. Three-legged dog. Again, left knee, left elbow or tricep. Flex the foot, step it with control outside that left pinky. Lower down to the forearms or stay upright on your palms. You choose. We're just easing into this front right hip flexor and into the inner left thigh, those adductors. Now, if you are like me here, I need to roll into the neck a little bit because I start to turtle up a little bit. I'm like, oh, I'm uncomfortable, and I start to retreat. Maybe you find a little bit more length as you look up. You might even tent up onto the fingertips. Palms might be to books, cookbooks, or to blocks. A pillow, whatever you got at home to add a little bit extra height underneath those hands if desired. On the next inhale, we're going to work on tucking the right toes. Lift that right knee up. Peel the left arm up towards the sky. Reach up. Find that easy twist, but it's a little bit wider of a stance in the legs, right? We have that lizard stance still. Gently lowering that right knee down. Kick the right foot up towards the sky. You might just stay right here, or if you can make that connection, try to make the connection. If you don't know if you can make the connection, still try. What's the worst that happens? It doesn't happen today. It might happen another day. Without putting a timeline on it, without putting expectations on it. I know, guys, yoga teachers, we all do it. Everyone does it. Every yogi, every human wants to have a timeline on something. This is the day I'm going to get handstand down or forearm stand or that quad stretch or half pigeon pose, a one day be comfortable win. And sometimes we just have to be okay with the timeline of our own bodies. And it's not going to be the same timeline as anyone else's. Gently release that back foot down. Bring your palms back to the side of that left foot. And again, straighten out that left leg. Flex the toes up towards the sky. That half splits variation with a really wide stance of the legs, though. So it's like a lizard half splits. I like to bow to the inside of that left leg. That might not be happening as much for you today. Breathe into the back of the leg, those hamstrings finding some stretch. Exhale, rebend into the knee. Now, your own way to get back to your down dog. I personally tuck the right toes, lift the right knee up, and then take a one-legged vinyasa. You might not. Both feet to the top of the mat, though, for up dog, and then goes back to down dog. Nice. How are you breathing right now? Filling up for a full inhale and a full exhale. Warming up our bodies. We're going to sweep that right leg high to the sky. Bend your knee, stack your hip. Again, wild thing, flip it over. Bring that hand into heart center. Lower the booty to hover, and then use all that momentum. Three-legged dog. Draw knee over towards right elbow or tricep. Flex your foot, step it outside your right pinky. Easy twist without lowering the knee. Keep your right arm reaching high to the sky. Good. Now I'm going to turn around so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to face towards you guys. Hello, yogis. And we're going to turn all 10 toes over towards the right side of the room. So all my front right toes are facing forward, but so are my left toes. If you can see them back here, I'm on the razor edge of my back left foot. My ankle is really strong because my foot is flexed and active. Now on the inhale, I'm going to reach my arm a little bit higher as my hips lift a little bit higher. On the exhale, horizon dip. Lower the hips to hover as you reach towards that back left foot. Inhale, sweep that right arm up and over. Exhale, lower your hips to hover. Inhale, reach it up and over. Unwind, plant your hands back to the inside of your right foot. You're back on the ball of the left foot. So your left heel is lifted off the earth again. Now spiral down that left foot. So it has a warrior two stance to it. So if you take a look at my left foot, I have this lovely warrior two stance between my front heel and my back left foot at 90 degrees. So I'm going to walk my hands to the top left corner. I'm going to call this warrior dog because I have warrior two stance in my legs, but down dog in my upper body, or my head is just hanging out. My arms reaching towards that top left corner or even off the edge of the mat. Not worried about being stuck to the boundaries of our mats. I'm going to face back to my normal stance so you guys can see where I'm at. All right, so we are here right now. Pressing the hips back towards whatever is behind you on the right side. Feeling a little bit more intensity as you draw this right knee towards the right pinky toe, that much more. Exhale, walk your hands over wide-legged fold towards the long edge of the mat. Yeah, you know, words are hard. Take a nice ragdoll from here if you want. Take a bind, take a twist, go upside down, whatever's in your practice and you are craving right now. It's kind of yogi's choice. I personally like to shorten my stance and take a ragdoll. So I shorten it a little bit so I can just hang out and grab for opposite elbows. This is a personal favorite of mine. It really does help my spine just hang heavy. But it might be that you reach your hands back behind you to get deeper into those hamstrings. You might grab for a bind, peace fingers to big toes, or a twist. You might lift your feet off the earth and fly a little bit. I personally just like to find length for my spine and my neck while I'm here, because that's the thing I always seem to be craving along the entire length of my back. Last full inhale. And a big breath out on the exhale. When you are ready, walking your hands back underneath your shoulders here. Halfway lift, nice flat back, engage your core. And then walk your hands around to frame your back left foot. You've got a standing L as you hop on and balance only on the left foot. So you still have belly to thigh connection here between your belly and your left thigh. Your right toes are flexed down towards the earth. And you're just letting your head hang out. Maybe you draw the nose a little bit closer towards the shin. Maybe that's not happening yet. Your IT band, like mine right now, is feeling pretty tight. That's outside of my left thigh. On the outside of that left thigh. It just might not be happening for you. So we're going to on an IT band stretch next. So we're going to take this right foot and we're going to slide it to the outside edge of our left foot. So we're pinky toe to pinky toe. We got this X cross of our legs and we're just going to fold on down because, oh my goodness, this is so good for the IT band. The back of the hamstring. Twist left arm apart. We're going to step back on top of our right or just stagger if you want a little bit more balance and stability. You could always take a supported side plank variation as well. But we're in side plank Vashisthasana. Try to hover this left foot if you can. We're going to draw this left knee in towards our chest. Flex the foot. Step it back to lizard. Oh yeah, we made it full circle here just for the opposite side of lizard. A little bit of forwards and backwards movement in your lizard, staying active off the back right knee. Palms pressing down into the earth. Can you hover the left foot and then bring that left knee behind your left elbow? Swing it over to the right elbow, back to the left elbow. One more time to the right elbow, to the left, and then take any vinyasa you want. Do you want a vinyasa, or maybe you just end up back in your down dog? We're gonna work on the other side. And left hand into heart center, lower your hips to hover, and then flip it around with that explosion of energy. Exhale, draw that left knee to left elbow, flex the foot, step it outside the left pinky. Easy twist, peel that left arm high towards the sky. And again, we're moving into those horizon dips. So all 10 toes turn over to the left. Inhale, reach that left arm a little bit higher overhead, lift the hips a little bit higher. Exhale, lower your hips to hover as you reach towards that back right foot. Inhale, arms reach high. Exhale, that arm reaches back, hips hover. Inhale, reach it up and over. Exhale, lower it down. Last time, unwind as you do so. Seal down that whole back right foot. Warrior two stance in our legs for our warrior dog. Find that down dog in the upper body. Keep those strong warrior two legs. So your right toes are at 90 degrees pointing towards the long edge of the mat. The front left toes are pointing towards the top mat. Top of the mat. Be steady. I like to give my head a little shake, yes and no, because sometimes the tension tends to start to store in the shoulders and the neck. I also press myself back to the left behind me, my booty pressing back, my left knee drawing towards my left pinky toe. That much more for the intensity. Last full inhale. Exhale, walk your hands to that long edge of the mat. Pivot the toes slightly in, the heels slightly out, wide-legged fold. Again, yogi's choice, just not as long this time. So you might notice that you take on a different variation. Two more rounds of breath, yogis. However you want to spend those 2 rounds of breath, it might be a little skandasana. Last full round of breath in. And exhale, bring your hands underneath your shoulder. Next, inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, walk your hands around, frame your front right foot, standing L, balance on your right foot. As you balance on your right foot, draw your nose in towards your shin. Keep that belly to thigh connection. You're doing awesome, yogis. We're building up to our half Mandukasana. That's in the next sequence, and then we're going to get to that full Mandukasana. You've got this. Working on stretching those hips and hamstrings here, sliding the left foot to the outside of our right. So it's pinky toe to pinky toe. X cross the legs. Find that nice IT band stretch. Let the head hang heavy. Maybe you pull and draw yourself in a little bit more. You might not. You might just notice that that's not happening for you today. Notice these things, learn a little bit more about ourselves. We might not always know the reason why things are happening with our body right away. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to gather data and kind of collect information and realize there's patterns to things. Reaching that left leg high, back to that standing L. Step it back, easy twist, right arm reaches high. And again, side plank, take that right foot. Maybe you stagger it in front, or maybe you step it on top. Option also to reach that right leg high towards the sky. We're going to draw our right knee in towards our chest and step it around back to our lizard. From our lizard, pause here for a moment, a little bit forwards and backwards movement. Can you press your palms so much into the earth, drive them down, that that right foot starts to hover? Right knee behind right elbow, switch it over to the left. Back to the right. Back to the left. One more time to the right in any vinyasa you want. I just like to step it down to my down dog, but you choose. Coming back to breath. Each inhale and each exhale. Breathing in new energy on the inhales, releasing anything that does not serve on the exhales. As you're ready, sweep that right leg high. Bend your knee, stack your hip. Again, that big flip. Draw your hand into heart center, flip it back around. Step that right foot to the outside of your right pinky. Okay, cool. Lower your left knee down. Pick up your left foot, pivot it back behind you. Start to walk your hands all the way to the back of the mat. You're like in a dancing gait pose a little bit. Taking your time to plant both hands to the back of the mat. Now the left knee is going to go out wide to 90 degrees. I'm going to turn towards the camera so you can see where I'm at. So we're all somewhere in here, and we're going to lower down to our belly where our left knee and thigh are in a line, right? So we have our 90-degree bend between our hip and our thigh. We have a 90-degree bend between our calf and our thigh. We have a 90-degree bend between our ankle and our calf. So it's all these right angles happening here as we lower down to our belly. Now this is half Mandukasana, so half frog pose. Yeah, we're half of a frog currently because we're gonna work on the two sides before we build up to the whole thing. Sometimes it can be a little bit intimidating just to be like drop down into Mandukasana in a class. That doesn't always work for everyone's hip, so it takes time. Can you rest maybe all the way down, bring an ear down to the earth? Or your forehead down, stack. Kind of like crocodile pose, your head on top of your palms. One more inhale, yogis. I'm going to pivot back to where we are at. Exhale. Start to press yourself back upright. Step that foot back to where you were, right? Take your time. Pivot this back right foot back behind you. I think I've done this all interesting ways. But anyways, pretty much just walk your hands back around, back to the front of your mat. Your shin is down to the earth. And then from here, you can hover it. You can take a one-legged vinyasa or just step it back to your down dog. All right, let's go with our half Mandukasana on the other side. It's going to make a little bit more sense and go a little bit faster now that you know what you're doing. So sweep that left leg high, bend your knee, stack your hip, flip it over, hand draws into heart center, flip it around, explosive energy, step that left foot forward. You got it, yogis. Lower your back right knee, pivot your right foot back behind us, walk your hands to the back of the mat, plant that right hand down, left arm reaches long overhead, feel that stretch, and then plant that left hand down, pivot your right foot back behind you again. So we're kind of in this weird lungey thing. So swivel your right leg out. So you have this half Mandukasana for the right side now. Again, 90-degree bend between hip and thigh, between our thigh and our calf, and our ankle and our calf. And lower it all down. Maybe hand stack, maybe an ear to the earth, the opposite direction. You find that space that works for your neck, for your back, for your hips. If there's tension in the jaw, find softness. That will help you lean into the space of your hips. Another full inhale. On the exhale, press back up to your palms. Lift yourself back up. Bring this knee underneath. And then swivel yourself back around. I think I did it a little bit correctly this time, finally, but it's all good. Tuck those back toes, and we'll meet back in down dog. You can take a vinyasa or not. That was kind of how I meant for it to go on the other side, guys. I think all my pivoting around to show each side got me all mixed up. But you know what? I have learned over the years of practicing yoga also to be okay with things not being perfectly symmetrical. I've noticed that sometimes if a teacher forgets something on one side, I don't walk out of the studio completely like lopsided or anything like that. I still have that balance. It's just we're not always perfectly symmetrical. As you're ready, take a full inhale. On the exhale, just step your right foot forward. Big step. Not thinking too much about it. Wide-legged fold. Face towards the long edge of your mat. Now, we're gonna move into our full Mandukasana into both knees. So we're gonna bend. I like to hop my feet a little bit back on the mat, and then we're gonna bend our knees down, and we're gonna end up with that 90-degree bend for our hips, our knees, and our ankles. Now your booty might be really high off the mat, really high up in the air. Who cares? It's all good. It's uncomfortable for pretty much everyone. Not really a comfortable posture. Maybe one ear to one shoulder, one ear to the other. What comes up for you here? For me, I tend to notice that I'm not breathing as well as I should be. And as a yoga teacher and just a practicing yogi, that's very frustrating when I catch myself doing that. But instead of punishing myself, instead of criticizing myself, it's just a gentle reminder to come back to the breath and say, okay, then I'm going to start breathing a little bit deeper now. And I'm going to take 2 more rounds of really powerful breath. Last inhale. On the exhale, press your way back up. A good fold. Oh, yeah, we're back here. So now, yogis, what we're going to do is we're going to walk our hands around to frame our front left foot and again bend into that knee. We're going to step our right foot up to meet our left, bending into our knees, find our way onto our bottoms. We're going to do a little bit of core work as promised, pretty much always in my classes we do core work because that's where we get so much strength for our core and for obviously for our core, but for our balance as well. All right, yogis. So from here, we're going to find our hands behind the nape of our head or in the nape of our neck, and we're going to tuck our chin towards our chest, hover our arms off the earth, but our elbows are out pretty wide. Now kick your legs forward. Awesome. I like to point the toes. Some people like to flex. It's up to you. Pull the navel down into the spine best you can. Now we're going to take our right hand up towards our left toes. Lower it back down. Again, left hand to right toes this time, switching it out. Lower it back down. Again, reach up towards the toes. Find a dramatic twist as you do this. You got it, yogis. I know it's not terribly comfortable. And then reach both arms out this time towards the toes. And then back down. One more towards the toes. Back down, hands behind the head. One more of these to each side. Nice. Hands behind us. Up towards the toes. Last one. And then down. Oh my goodness. It's over. All right. Find a nice good morning stretch. Reach arms and legs in opposite direction. That was tough. All right. Let's find a reclined half pigeon pose because there is no need to go through all that half pigeon pose after we did Mandukasana frog pose. So hug the knees in towards the chest. Good, a little rock left and right along the low back. Feels nice to me. Might feel nice for you. And then lower both feet to the earth. Kick your right foot up towards the sky. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. Find a figure 4 on your back. So a reclined pigeon pose. This is a really nice one. If you ever have knee pain in half pigeon pose, definitely take on this variation. You're getting a good stretch still nonetheless. You could flex your left toes up towards the sky to get a little bit more. It doesn't really matter because you might notice that you're chasing sensation rather than just letting the stretch be what it is today. Some days is more intense than other days. And noticing when we are embracing the pose or we're just chasing that sensation to make us feel like we've done a lot in a class. If you notice in our Mandukasana pose when we were on our bellies and our knees were out really wide, it's called frog pose. You look a lot like the logo of the frog on the Manduka mats because Manduka means frog. So Mandukasana, frog pose. Oh, that makes sense. So we look a lot like the frog on the logo for Manduka. So if you have a Manduka mat, you can look over at the little froggy in the corner and see, oh yeah, that was what we were doing, Mandukasana. All right, let's release our left foot down. Let's cross our right leg completely over. Knees fall to the left, arms open up to a T. I personally like to bring my gaze over towards my open right palm for the just an eagle wrap supine twist. And this is where things slow down, closing the eyes, breathing a little bit slower, even after that core work. Unwrap the legs, lower both feet to the earth, and then kick that left foot up towards the sky. Left ankle crosses over the right thigh. Figure four stretch, interlacing your hands behind the back of your thigh. You could kick the right foot up towards the sky. I don't want to make anybody feel like, oh man, maybe I am just chasing sensation and feel a bit shameful about it. I just meant to bring awareness to it or mean to bring awareness because I used to do that myself. I'm very guilty of it, and still sometimes I do. I think if I don't feel the maximum stretch in a pose or in a class, have I really done yoga? And that's silly to think about when I truly think about it as a yogi because I know I'm moving and I'm breathing and I'm creating unity between my mind and my body, my breath, my thoughts, creating this union, yoga, union, unity. Sure, I am doing yoga. And then I find that stillness at the end. That's all that matters. I can rest in some stillness for a little bit and be one. Just a thought. All right, not to go down a rabbit hole of like, you know, uh, what we're all doing within our own heads in our yoga practice. Lower your right foot down, cross your left leg over, knees fall to the right, arms open up to a T, gaze twists over to the left. Because you could probably do that for hours, and everybody thinks different things. We all have different backgrounds, different histories, different cultures, and that creates different thought patterns, different reactions and emotions. So everybody has their own personal experience on the mat. And that's why I encourage you to notice what happens for you in your own body, in your own mind, in your own breath. Because no one else's practice, no one's practice is the same. Everyone's practice is different. Because everyone is different. But yet we're all one and we're all united as one. All right, that came very full circle. Let's draw our knees in towards our chest. Give ourselves the biggest hug. Show ourselves a lot of love. If you'd like a happy baby to close out your practice, go for it. For me, I'm going to go for a Supine Konasana or reclined butterfly pose. I like to bring the soles of my feet together, knees out wide, and just one hand to belly, one hand to heart to really seal in that connection, that unity, that oneness. Soak up that gratitude for my physical body, for my breath, and my thoughts. It's so easy to criticize us over our thoughts. We end up in vicious cycles within our mind and things on repeat and going in circles. It's so easy to criticize our bodies and compare ourselves to other people, especially on social media. Other people look like they're doing workouts every moment of every day. And maybe your way of coping and getting through this time is not that, but you are beautiful. Your body and weight may fluctuate and change, but your sense of worth and value and who you are as a person does not change. As you're ready to find your Shavasana, let your arms and legs take up space. Maybe the palms face up. The toes might flare out. The feet might come off the edges of the mat. The arms might come off the edges of the mat. And you just let your physical vessel of your body lay heavy. Let this vessel just rest there as you turn completely inward, sinking heavier on the exhales, melting on the exhales, surrendering on the exhales. Just let your physical body lay heavy and enjoy your Shavasana, enjoy your rest. I'll let you know when it's time to reawaken. If you'd like to keep resting, just simply lock your phone. But if you'd like to reawaken and join me, take a steady inhale. Fill your lungs with breath, new air, new oxygen. On the exhale, release all the old oxygen and carbon dioxide. Hug the knees in towards the chest. Finding fetal position. Pausing with the eyes closed. That connection to earth, to remember that Mother Earth is supporting you always. No matter what is going on around us that is man made, that humans have caused, the earth never leaves us. It's constantly there, whatever situation is. Keeping the eyes closed as you press your way up to a comfortable cross-legged seat. To close out our practice, let's bring one hand to our belly, one hand to our heart, remembering this unity, this connection. Just as our breath and our body and our mind are all one, we are also all one with each other, even as we are apart right now in the world and we have to distance ourselves. We're all still one and connected, searching for the same things in life, moving through similar experiences, ultimately trying to do something good, struggling with the same struggles. We are human together. We are one and connected. Thank you so much, yogis, for practicing with me. My name is Christine. And until I get to see you again, hopefully in person so soon, namaste. Oh, good timing, Zoe. Come here. So Zoe and I want to remind you, come here, Zozo, that there is a donation page for Black Swan yoga teachers. It's our relief fund because a lot of Black Swan yoga teachers, when they are not teaching yoga in a studio, they're not able to pay their bills because that is their income coming in. And so your donations to our blackswanyoga.com page or through our Instagram, the link in our bio takes you to the donation page. All those donations go to those teachers, and it really can make a difference for a lot of teachers to be able to pay their bills and be able to um, still also practice their love of teaching yoga and connect with you amazing yogis that we also miss so much. It kind of has been hitting me as I hear songs that I would normally be playing in the studio, how much I miss that connection and your presence and that unity of all of us practicing together. So if you are able to donate to the Black Swan Yoga Teacher Relief page, please do so. If not, though, maybe text somebody and tell them something that you appreciate or are grateful for about them, and just kind of pay it forward with some good energy, some good vibes. And just keep telling your friends about Black Swan Yoga on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook. And I hope I get to see you in soon. Get to see you in person very soon. Um, but you guys get to see Zoe this way, so that's kind of fun because my dog tends to appear whenever she wants to. Well, anyways, yogis, have a great day and follow me at Yogi DLT if you want.